now, since I'm done with all the what I'll call major parts, now I'm getting into the nitty-gritty stuff, like what holds on the armrest to the bench seat, the hinges for the doghouse. And so I'm trying to keep everything straight and go through basically bags of stuff and figure out what I need to restore. There's like headlight pieces, so that needs to be done. And most of this stuff, for the most part, is going to get, let's say, just epoxy black or whatever. But I might decide to do this in orange. So I'm just kind of going through all the small stuff and figuring out what needs to be painted, what needs to be replaced, things like that. So there's a bracket for the front door that goes inside where the windows are. Don't know what it does, but it's there. And since there's only one of them, that probably came off of something, and the other one stuck to the other side down there somewhere. So we're just kind of going through this stuff and figuring out what we need to do. All right, so we just pulled out our brand new piece for the window guide, and you can see that it has the 2 holes for the rivets, 2 holes for these rivets, 2 holes for that rivet. So I pretty much have to drill these out and then refurbish these parts and then rivet it on. This is a different type of rivet compared to what I'm used to, so I'll have to do a little research on how these work, but maybe there's a special tool to put it on there. But yeah, so glad to see that this is matching up now and I understand what it is. And you can see I got all my parts out here that, not everything I'm redoing, but I'm keeping the bag so things are labeled so I know what's what, and just kind of do them one at a time, and then make sure that they go back into whatever bag or wherever it's going to go. So we got the vent over here that I need to clean up, and on the inside looks like the multiple years of this vehicle being painted has kind of splashed into this, so I'm going to clean this up and kind of get this thing back to good looking condition. Probably do like a plastic paint and get this thing nice and black again. I might be able to do a restore, but those restorers, they work great, but they don't last forever. So, and this is metal here, so I think just painting it all black with a special primer for plastic would be best. I haven't figured out exactly what I'm doing with the heater yet. We have what I believe to be the wiper motor. I got to figure out how I could test that. Maybe look at some wire diagram to see what's going on with that. I do have the switch sitting there. It doesn't look like it's in great shape. So need to test a few of those things. I'm pretty sure I tested all this stuff a while ago, but it's been over a year. I don't remember. I might be able to find it in the video. And I got this all cleaned up now, so I have some more space. And we're going to box up some of this stuff that I'm not sure about, but don't need it right now, like headlights and things like that. I'm sure I'm going LED, but I'm going to keep all this stuff until it's time to actually wire the van. And then I got my little pile down here that has the window actuators, if you will, and turn signals, gas pipe, some gas intake pipe, rubber, and things like that. So kind of getting it all cleaned up, getting it all fixed. So it's pretty windy outside, so I wasn't able to spray earlier, but now it's kind of calmed down. So I got a lot of parts ready to go. Lots of stuff here, lots of stuff here. And this is all just going to be spray can. I'm using the VHT because it works really well. It's direct to metal, it's epoxy, so it's going to seal it up so it doesn't rust. Don't need any primer or anything, it's all self-priming. So it's just a real economic way to get a really nice coat on these things. So I'll do 2 or 3 coats. And a lot of this stuff is like inside the front door for the windows, or this is behind the headlights for the headlight adjustments. You know, the headlights themselves I did in a black that's, you know, fully like that, but now for the little tiny parts and screws and stuff, I'm just going to do the epoxy spray straight to black. All right, we got all our parts painted. Some is gloss, some of it's satin. And then once this is all done, we will box it up, put it away. I got some bolts painted, ready to go. And this stuff is for either my seat or the doghouse hinges, so, which are right there. So it's going really well. Then I got a new cage nut for this air vent, and I used some epoxy. And once that dries tomorrow, I'm gonna sand that down. And then I bought some special plastic paint, and I'm gonna repaint this thing so it's all black, and that'll be ready to go. So we're definitely making some movement forward on all this stuff, which is really awesome. Well, what do we have going on today? So we have plenty of stuff to sand. This is all build primer. We have a complete cup meltdown mess. We have bolts being painted. We have all our little parts being painted. And this stuff is done. It's just curing at this point. I'll probably box it up today and bag it and just let it keep curing. We got more bolts to do, and we need to do this. But I think the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and do some wet sanding. We're going to be going orange with this, and this. This will be orange, but I'm not going to spray this until later, like when I actually spray the van. But I could sand it and get it ready. And then these, I'm going to do black pearl, so that'd be cool. And I have the front grille too. And so just depending on how things go today, you know, I haven't done this type of wet sanding since doing my car fenders on the 33, these little puppies. And that was a really eye-opening experience. And one thing that I've learned since is I was spraying build primer, sanding it off, spraying build primer, sanding it off, spraying build primer, sanding it off. And then I was taking build primer and just spraying, like, you know, like if there was a patch right here, a low point and a low point and a low point, and I was spraying and filling and filling. Well, now it's like, well, I could have just, you know, used some filler and filled that in. And so, you know, I didn't think these were that bad, because I thought when they came from the fact, again, never doing this before, I thought, oh, well, you know, it's going to be pretty simple. You know, it already has a gel coat. Things will be easy. And especially the rear fenders, there's all sorts of weird contours and stuff going on those fenders. And so I could have sped up the process a lot if I would have sprayed a primer on there and then done some kind of filler to get the big gaps, and then sanded that so it's perfect, and then started doing the build primer, and I would have probably done it once or twice and it was good. But of course, you know, I'm learning. That's just how it is. So yeah, we're gonna, lots of mosquitoes here, too much moisture around. We're gonna try to wet sand this stuff, get that ready. I'm not going to do any spraying today. I'll spray some can stuff, but I'm not going to spray this stuff because I keep forgetting to call tech support on my cup situation. The only thing I can think of is I'm over tightening the, you know, these things here. That's the only thing I could think of, because I'm double checking everything and everything's sealed and it's all good to go. The only other thing, that's if it's my fault, that's what's happening. I don't think that's true. The other thing I'm thinking is I just have defective cups that have either slight holes in them or something that's not working, or I don't really know. So, but yeah, what doesn't fail is this. This doesn't fail. So, any case, I'm not spraying today. I'm going to try to do tech support on that. The other thing that, there's another reason I'm not spraying, is it looks like I'm having a failure here on this thing. So for the last few weeks, this little thing was filled with like water up to here, which I get, it's humid, but it's supposed to be draining. And it wasn't, or maybe there's some, I don't know how this thing works. And then out of nowhere, it's wide open and air is just blown out of it, so much so I had to put a can on top of it because it was just going nuts. And so I couldn't even really use the compressor at all because it's a big gaping hole now just coming out. So love the compressor, the engines, everything, color. This thing's amazing, but this is failing. And I've had issues with the auto moisture release valve a few times. So, which I don't think they actually make themselves. It's a third-party thing. But in any case, so I got to call them tomorrow. So I got like literally 2 or 3 people that I need to call, different companies that need to call for tech support issues, get that stuff going. So we're going to grab this stuff, hopefully maybe a bucket of water, and just kind of see where this goes. It's been a long time since I've done this, probably a year and a half at least. And I just want to make sure, I'm hoping that I've done enough build on this that, and I'm not going, these I want super awesome. Well, all these I want super awesome. This, I mean, it is what it is, right? They're little chunks. But I don't want to sand and spray and sand and spray. I just want to sand and possibly be done. Maybe put a little filler, call it a day, done, So that's kind of the objective that we're going to try to do. We'll see what happens. I was like, what was that noise? I'm spraying, everything's perfect, and the wind just freaking blows everything over. Flips it upside down. It's like, can't win out here. It's crazy. All right, making some progress. One of these is pretty much perfect. Got them all sanded, nice. This, I got it sanded down, but you could probably see it's a little rough in areas. So because of all these holes, there's impressions in the metal from, where the dies were punching stuff. And so I'm going to do one more coat of build on this, or one more session, whether that's 2 or 3 coats, and do some more sanding on this. I'm not going to go crazy with it and try to make it like a mirror because that's just not how the metal is bent. And I think if I start building stuff up around the holes, that's just going to cause failures and cracks and stuff like that. However, I feel like I could get it a little better. And I'm either starting to see white underneath, or that's just kind of the high spots. It might be just the high spots, but in any case, it could use another coat of build. The back is just epoxy, so I'm not worried about that. I'm just doing build on the top. So this is not something I'm going to go and spray on its own. I'll wait until I have something else I want to spray and then throw this in the mix with whatever's left over and call it a day. So that's just kind of like on the back burner. And I haven't done the grill yet today, and I'm glad I didn't because it's a huge job. And so, I remember that this is a pretty huge job doing this stuff. This one I got done, but, I still got some waves you could see right there. And there's a little wave here and a little wave here. And I kind of feel like this along with the lid is like, the iconic part of this van. So I'm going to try to maybe put some red filler in here. I'm not sure if that's the way to go, like a glaze in there, because it's kind of interesting is, this I'm going to be wrapping, but I could see some of the lines that I did some glazing on. And that's not true on some of the other pieces, so maybe I just didn't go crazy on this piece, but, you know, I would hate to see that happen after I'm done painting something, so I might actually get some consulting on this, but I'll try it, and then if it fails, I'll get some consulting. And now I just need to do the bars, and so here's my station. I got some plastic, bucket of water, and a water bottle to add water while I'm up here. But this one is pretty much a manual sand here by hand because I can't do a flat on there. So these, you know, these are like crude industrial pieces, and I'm trying to make them super pretty. And, you know, I don't know if they're going to get prettier than they are. You know, I got a few little cracks and things happening, you know, where it broke through to the filler. And what's interesting is when the build primer on an edge or something cracks, it leaves a divot, like the whole thing chips off. And that's a little surprising to me. So this one is the most perfect, but the mold itself, when they originally made it, is a little jacked, and there's some ridges and stuff, which I tried to get rid of, but not well enough, I guess. Hopefully I don't think those are ridges I created. No, because that's the epoxy already. Yeah, so I don't know. I might put some red glaze on this too and see what I can do, but we'll see. So I'm going to finish sanding that. I'm going to hop on this and maybe glaze it a hair. Greg's at a massive trade show doing some painting, so I'm not going to bother him this week. Probably be another 3 weeks before he's back, so I'll kind of maybe try to figure this out on my own, but we'll see. So as you can see, there's a lot of kind of pock marks there coming through. I have a few little things like that. Like I said, when I dig in too much, it seems to like chip, which is making me unnerved. Is that the right word? I'm still using random words lately. I don't know why. So, yeah, that doesn't make me too happy. There's a little bit there too. So, lesson learned on this. Rough body work first. You know, I thought the filler was going to take care of it all. That's pretty much what it was, but that's obviously not the case. So, need to use filler first, then build primer so you don't get into this situation where it falls apart. But I think we'll maybe try to put some glaze on this. I mean, it is what it is at this point. And then this unit doesn't, but this unit needs white epoxy again, just because it needs to be white before I spray orange. So a thinned out version of the epoxy. So that will be a little bit of filler too. This stuff doesn't need to be done right away, but might as well get it off the table. So it's getting pretty hot out and the sun's finally catching up to me, so I think I'm going to be done sanding today. I think I'll work on this plastic thing, see if I can get this to clean up and maybe get this sprayed. You can see I got all the other parts kind of laid out for what bag they go into. I still got some springs and stuff I got to spray, which I might do right now. I have these parts. I have no idea what they are. I'm assuming they came from the doghouse because I don't know where else this would be coming from, but I don't remember it at all. That was a long time ago, so if anybody knows what that is, let me know. And yeah, we're just going to keep trucking here. Alright, I'm down to my painting the plastic with a special plastic paint, and let's just coat one there. Got a few things brewing here, and one thing I'll say is I'm just super excited. I'm getting all the minutia stuff done first, and that way I could just work on the van and not care about any of this stuff. And then I just go to bolt it on back, later on. There's going to be some stuff like, chroming and some things that I'm going to do, right before I put the van together. And there's probably a lot of bolts I might replace, or I might just clean up and spray. The thing that's nice about cleaning up and spraying is, the bolts fit and it's ready to go. So, however, I do have my kit that tells me what bolt is what, so I could order stuff if I need to. But yeah, it's coming along well. I haven't thought much about seatbelts yet. I know I'm not putting these back in, but I haven't really thought about what that looks like. I've already bought some rigid vacuum attachments that kind of mimic these, and it seems like they'll work, so that will be a little bit down the road. And I think the next thing I need to do is start testing this to see if it works, start testing that, or at least reviewing videos where maybe I turned this stuff on and it was working. And then today, later tonight, I'm going to research these door window inserts and see where I want to go with that. And if I want to leave it manual, then, I'll just do my thing. However, I will say, being in Arizona, well, anywhere anyways, but in Arizona, and having everything manual and not having air conditioning, I think I'd like to have electric. I think that would be way smarter. So that's why I'm leaning towards that option. I just don't know if I need to add extra buttons, or I saw some stuff where you could just use the knob itself as a trigger. So we'll see on that. But seems like the gnats are out. They love the paint. They're taking it all in. Oh, maybe it's no, it looks like gnats. A lot of mosquitoes right now, but these look smaller. So yesterday I was out talking to my neighbor in front of the trees here, and my cologne or something, man, frickin' wasp was coming after me for about 10 minutes. He just kept circling me, and I'd move around. He kept circling. So don't like that. So I wanted to share a little unique thing that I did over the last weekend here. I was in Scottsdale, Arizona, hired to record a steam engine train for what I'll call display/playground for kids, and they wanted to have the original sounds of a real steam engine put into this machine or playground or whatever you want to call it. And so anyways, I got a chance to record the steam engine, and I just wanted to show this kind of thing for you guys. If you've never had a chance to go and see this park, they have about 3 steam engines, and you're allowed to ride on these carts. And we were getting engine noises and cart noises and all sorts of different things, including the blow off from the steam engine. You could tell it's like a little bomb ready to go off, and they need to release pressure every once in a while. So, yeah, very cool process. Figured I'd just show you a little bit of that.